Hello everybody and welcome to How to Prepare and Excel at Mathcounts Competitions. This presentation was created by Dr. Hwasong Yin, who is the author of Mathcounts Preparation, How to Excel at Middle School Math Competitions, and 10 AMC 8 practice tests to prepare for the American Mathematics Competition 8. And I am your commentator, Robert Yin. Okay, let's begin. So, we are going to prepare for the Mathcounts preparation sprint round. This is a part of the Mathcounts competition that is held. So, there are 30 questions in 40 minutes, and you're going to spend a lot of time reading and trying to figure out what the questions mean. Okay, so this means that you're gonna have to really be quick and on the ball about answering these questions. Now, most of them are fairly easy. You just have to be very quick with them. And you should also allocate a lot more time into the harder questions and not as much time into the easier ones to get as many questions done as possible. So, we're going to walk you through the 2015 State Sprint Round questions from Mathcounts. So, question 1. Jared needs $240 to buy a new bicycle. He has saved $60 so far and saves $9 per week. In how many weeks will Jared have saved enough to buy the bicycle? So, first step is we need to figure out how much does he need to earn. So, you take the amount the bicycle costs and you subtract the amount he's already saved. So, you would take 240, subtract 60, and you find that he only really needs to earn $180 to buy the bicycle. So, now what we can do is we can figure out how long it'll take him because we know how much he's earning per week. So he's earning $9 per week and he only needs 20 weeks to reach his goal because 9 times 20 is 180. So if he saves it for 20 weeks, he'll reach $180 in 20 weeks. So the answer would be 20 weeks. Now number 2, given that 2 equals a over 20 equals 60 over b, what is the value of a plus b? So this is fairly simple. It's just fractions. So basically, you should be able to see that a equals 40 because 40 divided by 20 is 2. And we said that a over 20 is equal to 2. So basically, all you need to realize is that the top number needs to be twice as much as the bottom number. And knowing that, we can figure out that b is going to be half of 60 because 60 should be twice of b, and b is, so that means b should be 30. And it's asking us for the value of a plus b, so 40 plus 30 is 70, so 70 would be your answer. And if you didn't really realize that at first, you probably need to work a little more on fractions because this is not very difficult. This is one of the easier questions. Okay, number 3. Given the function fx equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 7 with domain -2, -1, 3, and 4, what is the largest integer in the range of f? So a lot of people, so some of you might be a little scared off because words like function, domain, and range. I'm not going to explain it to you, but do not be like do not be scared of these words. Basically, what you want to do is you're going to substitute the domain numbers into x, and you're going to solve for x. So, so here we go. We have already written out all of the uh, solutions for each domain, and if you'll notice that you want to go for the number. You first want to go for the number that looks like it'll give you the largest solution in order to get done as quickly as possible. So, as you can see, function 4 has the biggest solution with 27, and that would make sense because when you think about it, 4 is the largest number, and when you put that in, it should give you a larger number. So you work it out. So you plug it in, 2 times 4 squared minus 3 times 4 plus 7. You solve for 4 squared, and that is 16. 2 times 16 is 32, as you can see. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 7 stays the same. 32 minus 12 is 20, plus 7 is 27. And you can work these all out, but it's better to start with the one that you think is going to give you the biggest answer, and if you're running out of time, you may just have to go for it. And since we've already worked it out, you can see that function 4 is the largest. So the largest integer in the range, or the solution, is 27. So that is your answer. Now, number 4, the first two terms of a sequence are 10 and 20 if each term after the second term is the average of all the preceding terms. What is the 2015th term? Now, that seems really scary because 2015th, that is a lot of terms in a sequence. So, but there's no real given solution for this, not really. So all you really need to do is you just solve. So we find the third term, and the average of 10 and 20 is 15 because 10 plus 20, that is 30 divided by 2, and you get 15, right? And so now you know that the first three terms are 10, 20, and 15. So to find the fourth term, you just find the average of the first three terms. So the average of 10, 20, and 15 is 10 plus 20 plus 15 divided by 3, and this here adds up to 45 divided by 3 is 15. And you're starting to notice a bit of a pattern here. So, and you can guess that the answer is going to be 15, and if you're really not sure, let's go ahead and find the fifth term. So okay, so let's try to find the fifth term. So we have 10, 20, 15, and 15 again. So those are the first four terms, right? And to find the fifth term, you find the average. Now, 10 plus 20, that is 30, and 15 plus 15 is 30, so you get 30 plus 30, and that is 60. And 60 divided by 4 is, you guessed it, 15. So you can kind of already just go ahead and guess that is 15. And the reason this works is, hold on. So the reason that this works is, okay, so basically 10 and 20, the average of that is 15. So that's kind of like saying you can have two 15s, because when you have the average, it's what the numbers actually are don't really matter. What matters is what they average out as, and 10 and 20 average out as 15. So basically you're going to have 15 over and over and over and over, and it will not affect the average. So if you change 10 and 20 to, let's say, 0 and 30, 0 plus 30 is 30, divided by 2, that is still 15. And you can change to 15 and 15 as well, and you'll still get 15. It's really not going to change anything. So the answer is going to be 15. Okay, number 5. This graph shows the water temperature T degrees at the time T minutes for a pot of water placed on a stove and heated to 100 degrees. On average, how many degrees did the temperature increase each minute during the first 8 minutes? Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people are going to try to figure out the increments, and they're going to actually go to the graph and say, what is this increment? What is this increment? And that's going to be really difficult because, one, this is a small graph, and it is not that detailed. So it asks for the average, and that's key here. When you find the average, you can just assume that it is increasing at a constant rate. You don't have to figure out which one's a little larger, a little smaller than the average, did it go up a little more this time, a little less this time. You can just assume that it all goes up the same amount every time, because you're gonna get to the same endpoint either way. So by the time it's the 8th minute, the temperature is 100 degrees. So 8 minutes have passed, it's 100 degrees, and it starts at 20 degrees. And so the total change between the water temperature is 80 degrees. And so you take 80 divided by 8, and it basically increases 10 degrees per minute. And your answer is 10 degrees. Okay, number 6. In the table shown, y equals 3x minus 1 over 2. What is the value of t? So we want to try to simplify this here. So we multiply both sides of the equation by 2 to cancel out this 2 here, and you get 2y equals 3x plus 1. And from the table, we see that when x equals t, y equals t plus 4. And you can substitute that in order to have just one variable. So as you can see here, instead of having 2y, we have 2, and y equals t plus 4. So we put t plus 4 here equals 3t minus 1. You multiply it out here, and you get 2t plus 8 equals 3t minus 1. And this is very convenient because we want to move the 2t over to the 3t to subtract, so you're left with just t on its own, and that makes things a lot easier. And then you move the 1 over to the 8 and add it, so you get 3t minus 2t equals 8 plus 1, so t equals 9. And if this looks a little confusing because you're used to seeing the variable on the left hand side, you can just flip it. It's the same thing. So the answer would be 9. Now, number 7. A streaming video service offers its customers 2 plans. The first plan has a $24 registration fee, a fixed monthly rate of $5, and a charge of 75 cents for each video download. The second plan has a $15 registration fee, a fixed monthly rate of $3, and a charge of $1.50 for each video download. For how many downloads would the 2 plans cost the same for a year of service? So, what's important here is we need to figure out what the variable is. Now, some people might look at it as, oh, well, there's a monthly rate, so how many months you're using this is going to be the variable. But it says for a year of service, so we know that it's 12 months. So the variable is going to be how many downloads do you do. So we can set that as x downloads for a full year. And so we get this equation for the first one, the $24 initial registration fee, and then the $5 a month for 12 months, which is a year, plus 75 cents per download, or x. And then for the second plan, it is $15 for an initial fee, and then you have $3 a month for, again, 12 months, and then $1.50 per download. So we can set these to be equal because we want to figure out for how many downloads would they be the same. And now we solve for x. So we have the 2 equations here. What you would do first is we would move 15 over to 24 to subtract it. Then we would move 3 times 12 over here to subtract it as well. And then you would move 0.75x over here to subtract it. And this makes it a lot easier. And so now you have 24 minus 15 plus 5 times 12 minus 3 times 12 equals 1.5x minus 0.75x. So 24 minus 15 is 9. 5 times 12 minus 3 times 12. Now you could go ahead and multiply 5 times 12 to get 60, and 3 times 12 to get 36 and subtract, but you really don't need to do that because 12 is going to be the same. So basically you have 5 12s and then 3 12s, right? And then those 3 12s cancel out 3 12s here, and you're left with 2 12s left. So that's why it says 2 times 12. And then 1.5 minus 0.75. 0.75 is just half of 1.5. So you're left with 0.75x. And then you simplify on this side. So 2 times 12, sorry. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 9 is 33. And to make things a little easier, rather than multiplying by 0.75, you convert this to a fraction, and 0.75 as a fraction is 3/4. Now what you want to do is you want to divide by 3 on both sides, because 33 has a factor of 3, and then 3/4 is basically 3 1/4, or 3/4. So then you have 11 on this side, and then you have 1/4 x, and you can move x to the top here, and then you multiply by 4 to get rid of this 4 here, and you get x equals 44. So the answer would be 44 downloads. And there is a mental solution. So this is, you don't have to do this on paper really. Well, like, you could, but there is a mental solution, which is a lot easier to do in your head. So the yearly overhead costs for the first plan is this here, so 24 minus, okay, so basically 24 minus 15 plus 2 times 12 equal, okay, basically what this is, this is the difference between the two plans. So the first plan is obviously 24 per month, well, for the registration fee, and then you have 15 for the second plan, and you're trying to find the difference. So like, how much more are you paying than the other one? So that's why you're subtracting. And then you also have the $5 monthly rate for 12 months and the $3 monthly rate for 12 months. And then when you subtract that, you are left with plus 2 times 12, and then that is equal to 24 minus 15 is again 9, and then 2 times 12 is 24, and $33 more than the second plan. So in order to compensate for that, what you want to do, but for the downloads, the first plan saves 3/4 per download. So for 11 downloads, the first plan saves 33/4. However, we want to get it to $33. And so a quarter is 1/4 of a dollar. So to make 1/4 a dollar, you multiply by 4. And so essentially to get $33, you just multiply 33/4 by 4. And you multiply the downloads by 4. You increase it by 4. And so for 44 downloads, the first plan saves $33. And so again, the answer is 44 downloads. Okay, number 8. The length of a rectangle is 3 times its width. A new rectangle is created by decreasing the length of the original rectangle by 9 feet and increasing its width by 4 feet. The area of the new rectangle is the same as the area of the original rectangle. What is the perimeter of the new rectangle? So we have a visual representation for you here. This isn't necessary because later you'll see that this is definitely not necessary, but here we have the original rectangle with the length being x and the width being the width being x and the length being 3x because the length is 3 times the width. And then the new rectangle says that the width is increased by 4 feet, so plus 4, and then the length is decreased by 9 feet, so minus 9. So the areas are the same, so we can put that 3x times x, which is the area of the original rectangle, is the same as 3x minus 9 times x plus 4 is as the area of the new rectangle. And you would want to bring the 3 out of here, so 3x divided by 3 is x, and 9 divided by 3 is 3, and you bring the 3 out here. You simplify this to get 3x squared, and then you simplify by taking out the 3 on both sides, so you're left with x squared equals x squared minus 3x plus 4x equals 12, and then you cancel out the x squared on both sides, and then minus negative 3x plus 4x is x, so 0 equals x minus 12, and you can move the 12 to the other side to get positive 12, so x equals 12. And knowing that x equals 12, you can substitute that into the new rectangle and find the perimeter. So the perimeter is 2 widths plus 2 lengths, so 2 of x plus 4 and 2 plus 2 of 3x minus 9, and you substitute for x, so you put in 12, so 12 plus 4 is 16, so 2 times 16 plus 2 times 3 times 12 minus 9, so 3 times 12 is 36. 36 minus 9 is 27. 2 times 27 is 54, and 2 times 16 is 32. 32 plus 54 is 86. Therefore, your answer is 86. Okay, so number 9. In the equilateral triangle ABC shown here, each downward pointing black triangle has its vertices at the midpoints of the sides of a larger upward pointing white triangle. What fraction of the area of ABC is white? Express your answer as a common fraction. So we need to try to figure out how much of this huge triangle is white, and that looks tricky at first, but if you notice, we have a visual representation of this. If you just make some cuts here, you notice that it's all really just made of a bunch of the same congruent triangles. So knowing this, we can easily just count. So we have a new um, sorry, I lost my words. Basically, we've renamed all the points. So instead of ABC, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. So the triangle ABC that is here, 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 and here, this top triangle, is divided into 16 smaller triangles with 9 white triangles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them are white. And basically, triangle ABC here is the exact same as this one here, BDE, and this one here, CEF. So that means if there's 9 triangles and 9 white triangles in this one, there's going to be 9 more here, 9 more here, and 3 times 9 is 27. So in total, there are 27 white triangles. Now for the total triangles, there's 16 in each triangle here, and then we multiply that by 4 because there's also this one in the middle that doesn't have any white triangles. So 16 times 4 is 64. So the answer is 27 over 64, and that is going to be the most simplified you can get because there is no common factor between 27 and 64. So that would be your answer. Okay, number 10. What is the greatest possible perimeter of an isosceles triangle with sides of length 5x plus 20, 3x plus 76, and x plus 196? So first thing to note here is the word isosceles. So isosceles triangles have 2 sides with equal lengths, and then the third one is a different length. So we want to have the greatest possible perimeter possible, and this is going to happen when x is largest because all these lengths are dependent on x. Basically, x kind of in general determines how large it's going to be. So we want x to be as large as it can. So we set 2 sides to be equal. Those will be our 2 isosceles lengths for the isosceles triangle. And to make the largest value for x, we're going to take this 3x plus 76 and x plus 196 to be the same. So now we just solve for x. So you move x over here to subtract, and you move 76 over here to subtract. And that's really simple. 3x minus x is 2x. 196 minus 76 is 120. You divide by 2 on both sides, and you get x equals 60. So knowing that x equals 60, you get 5 times 60 plus 20, so that's 320. 3 times 60, which is 180 plus 76, and you get 256. And 60 plus not 196, and that is also 256. And as you can see, these two sides are the same, so it is an isosceles triangle. And the perimeter is going to be 320 plus 256 and then 256 again, so we just put it as times 2, and that is 320 plus 512, and that is 832. Now also you want to make sure that these 3 sides actually do form a triangle by checking the triangle inequalities, and we're not going to go into that right now. We'll talk about that maybe another time, because it's something a little more lengthy and that could be made into one whole video. But basically you want to make sure that these lengths could actually be part of a triangle. And as you can see, these parts are definitely part of a triangle. You may not notice, and you may be questioning whether they are, but they are. Don't worry about it. Okay, so here's a challenging question. We're not going to answer this one for you. I want you to figure this out on your own. So the question is, if x is an integer, what is the difference between the greatest possible perimeter and the smallest possible perimeter of a triangle with sides of length 5x plus 20, 3x plus 76, and x plus 196. Now, I'm not going to give you the answer, but I will give you a little hint. So basically, to have x be to get the greatest possible perimeter and the smallest possible perimeter, we want x to be as big as possible and as small as possible. However, there are going to be some limits. So like, let's say x is equal to 0. Then you would simply have, this would cancel out, this wouldn't be equal to anything, and you just have 20, 76, and 196. Now, according to the triangle inequality, that is not going to be a triangle. So that means x cannot be equal to 0. But what about the largest possible? So let's say x is equal to 1,000,000. This one would be approximately 5 million, basically. This would be 3 million, and this would be 1 million. And that is also not going to be able to make a triangle according to the triangle inequality. So keep that in mind when trying to figure out, what is going to be the largest possible value for x and what is going to be the smallest possible value. Okay, so check out these two books on Amazon. These two books are going to be what is really going to help you in, these competitions like Mathcounts. So we have Mathcounts Preparation, How to Excel at Middle School Math Competitions, and 10 AMC Practice Tests to Prepare for the American Mathematics Competition 8. And we will continue. Next time we'll answer some more questions. Hopefully you guys will, better understand some of this stuff and do a lot better when competing. So we will see you next time.